Hi, Jackson. How are you today?
Explain
that. I'm a resource. I hope it should have been pretty clear because you could see the motivation for her to get between me and him. So he came to me, he wanted my attention, she wanted my attention. She was pushing him out of the way. I corrected that because I'm the leader. That's a hierarchical conversation, and I say no to hierarchical conversations amongst pack members. So the message I send them is that there is a hierarchy. I formed it separately first. This is their first time together. I'm the leader, so I'm on top of that hierarchy, right? You're both below me, you're equal, and you're not allowed to have conversations about who's above or below the other. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to dogs, it's all about access to resources. The one who has access to resources is the one that's going to be able to pass on the genes through procreation. It's going to be able to be the healthiest because it gets access to all the best stuff in the environment. So they're naturally wired to have these types of conversations. And they don't always have to be full out brawls. They can be little conversations. So that was one, and I denied it. I disagreed with it. She listened to me though. Now, if she didn't, she could have fought through that. She could have then disagreed with me, trying to correct me, and then she could be higher up on the hierarchy because what that means is she gets, if she wants a resource, she can get it from me. She can get it from him, right? So in her eyes, in the environment, anything I want, I can get. And I can tell everyone else to leave it alone. I imagine the fight started with some type of hierarchical dispute. She's not supposed to be a leader, so she overreacts. She's a little insecure. She's meant to be led. So if she's leading, she's going to overreact. Those overreactions become associated responses, and the dog just triggers in these situations to that associated state and the behaviors that come along with it, which for her was to attack Jackson. And then they're not even thinking, it's just, that's what a trigger means, that something happens and they just go into that auto response. But it was created somewhere. The first time she tried to do something like that, if it was dealt with a certain way, we would have actually told her that that's off the table and it would have stopped. Okay? But because it kept going and going and going many, many times, it became an associated response. So you can see that with her, especially in that video. It's just like, it's dinner time. I fight Jackson during dinner time. And also there is another layer to it that we'll get into. Another one is she'll correct him for not listening to the owners, from what I understand. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. So the owners will be telling them to do something. He won't be listening. She'll take it into her hands to correct him. And so also in the pack that I developed, my dogs that are below me in the pack, they're not allowed to correct one another like that, right? Especially my client dogs. They're not allowed to. So if I can say no to that response from her, then she'll stop doing it. If she respects me as leader. And it is that simple. That's why they didn't attack here, right? She attacks on sight, and she didn't do it. And if she did, I would have stepped in, and then we would have redid it. And after a few of those, it would be gone. In this pack, right? Good. So that's why we got to recognize those little disrespects and correct them, because it keeps the maintenance. They're operating in that space. Dogs operate in that space. If we don't operate in that space or recognize it, then oftentimes a lot of those conversations are misleading to the dog, and it sends them a message that they're allowed to do things that, even if we're telling them not to, well, I can do it. I know you're saying not to, but you're not actually effectively stopping me. Good. So therefore I can do it, and I will do it because I'm designed to have those conversations around resources, right? And another resource that's overlooked is the ability, the one who gets access to choose how we deal with a situation, right? Who gets this first? Who's allowed over here? That kind of stuff. The ability to deal with the situation. So if I see a dog trying to lead the situation and I want to be the leader, just like another dog, if two dogs are trying to choose, you can see two dogs telling an intruder in their mind, it's probably just a mailman, hey, get out of here. Both the dogs are trying to deal with the situation. They'll end up fighting because one of the dogs is going to turn and say, hey, no, you're taking my role. Only one of us is going to be the one who chooses here. All right? So they see that as a valuable resource too. Whoever gets the choice to decide how to respond, right? So I want that. If I see her responding to something, even if it's a person that comes into the door and she just leaves the pack and goes and checks it out first, she's in trouble. Something as little as that. Or food is dropped on the floor and she goes over first without permission, she's in trouble. Or him, right? That's how you maintain. Doors, right? If I just open it and they just bust out, they're having first access. So the way to clean that up is permission-based. You don't get something, including in and outdoors or going up on people, any motivation that you see valuable, you can't have unless I've offered it, right? And if you try to go get it without me offering it, there'll be a correction, generally followed by a recall if they run towards something. Correct, recall, settle the mind, reset. You go up to the motivation, whatever it may be, the door, the person, the food, and that just establishes that you want that position to be able to have first access, and you can't have the resources unless I offer them. Now they're offering these behaviors because they've both learned separately, calm and compliant, and just following the leadership. This is a coping skill. The down here, they're using this to stay out of trouble. They're doing it on their own because they know that's what works within this pack. If they just mind their own business, they're not trying to, walk around the room, check things out unless they're offered, everything's good. If they were to pick up and start messing around with things, they're gonna get in trouble because I didn't offer them to. If we're all chilling and I'm sitting watching TV and they're chilling like this and then one of them picks up and goes over here to the toys and starts throwing them around, they're in trouble. Same with my dog. He can't just pick up and start checking out the house without permission, right? It sends the wrong message. So if I say, hey, break, let's explore, go ahead. If I haven't said that, you're gonna be in trouble. Which remote is he on?
Green.
That's my sound of disagreement. When I shush like that, I give a little tap on the collar or a low level, just to disagree with the movement right now.
That's something Gwendolyn probably has done in the past.
Exactly. She's probably disagreed with him for moving. Whoever controls the movement is going to be the leader, typically. A lot of this comes down to who gets to go where, when they get to go, how. Like if a dog's, we've talked about this in other videos, but if they come into your personal space and they have high energy or they're being very demanding, that's not how you enter my personal space. You'll get corrected like that because we learned from dogs. They're the best teachers. You're a resource, Julie. And dogs say, if you enter my personal space with high energy, if it's not something I've offered or something that I want, I'm going to correct you just for entering my personal space with a high energy. And that's oftentimes what people say they fought out of nowhere. A dog will just come with the wrong intent and wrong energy into the personal space of another dog, and they'll get corrected for doing that. It's totally normal, totally natural for dogs to do that to each other. If we apply that to our dogs, then we get more respect. If we get more respect, they listen. If they listen, all the problems go away. It's really, if they don't listen, here's the laundry list of everything that everyone complains about, all the symptoms. They're fighting, they're barking, they're not listening to commands, they're destroying the house, whatever the dog's doing, it's because they're not listening. It's because we don't have that clout in the pack. We don't have the influence. We don't have the respect. We don't have the relevance. When a dog disagrees or isn't listening to you or is doing something you disapprove of, those are the opportunities to step in, to create the boundary, to teach what not to do or what to do, but also in that you are actually leveraging yourself higher up on the hierarchy. So every time you address something properly, you get one step up. Eventually the dogs, they understand who you are in the pack. They show you that respect. They get the rewards of giving you that respect, which is your soft side, the resources you offer. They see it that way now. I offer the resources to you because you're one of my followers, right? Because you're part of my pack and you're being respectful. Not you just get the resources showered on you, even if you're attacking each other, even if you're not listening. You still get the best food, the best treats, the best beds in the house. You still get choices and freedoms and all this stuff. It tells them there's nothing wrong. They're not going to change just because we're upset. I wish they would. I wish they would. nobody would hire us. If the dog's seen that you were upset because something they did, and they were like, that's enough for me to change, everybody's dog would change because everybody gets upset. Like, why did you do that? Why? I just told you not to go chase the squirrel, but you chased the squirrel. I just told you not to go out the door, but you ran out the door. You know I didn't want you to. It's not enough. I need to just earn respect. Okay? Good. Break.
Nice.
Good. Where's Gwendolyn? Yeah. Good. And now I have to teach him the same thing. If I'm interacting with her, this is her, this is him.
Because if you don't, she will.
Good. Bingo. If you don't, she will. If she sees that you're competent enough, I didn't say confident. I know this spell check always thinks I'm saying confident with an F. I'm saying competent, meaning you're capable. If she sees you're capable of controlling him and creating these boundaries, and on top of that, you correct her if she tries to create those boundaries, she's not only going to trust you more, she's going to respect you more, and she's actually going to be less anxious. And she's not going to see a need to take care of him because she knows you will. That's why my dogs, the ones who help me with these other dogs, if they're pushed to a point where they want to correct the other dog all the time, it will happen. They won't do it. They look at me. They know, hey, if you just wait 1 second, I'm coming over here to deal with that. Plus, I wouldn't be putting you in a situation where you're in trouble or where you're going to be in danger. So trust me, but respect me enough not to correct this dog. So that's why he doesn't correct the other dogs. He wants to, but when he wants to, he's got coping skills. One is to look at me. I'm coming over to help you. I'm correcting that dog. Another one, you can just come to me, right? Given if the context is right. So he's got these coping skills. You can just leave the situation. Don't fight. If you fight, it's going to be a bigger problem for you because now you're fighting that other dog, but now you have to deal with your leader, right? And if you have the right respect, they won't. And they're smart. They're smarter. Dogs are smarter than anyone. Oh, a lot of people know that dogs are smart, but I think people don't know how smart they actually are. They understand a lot of what you're saying, but they're so smart. They realize that they can act like they don't know what you're saying. They can ignore you to the point and play face where it literally looks like they don't know what you're saying because that's a valuable skill with humans. That's a valuable skill. If I can ignore you and make it seem like I just didn't hear you or I don't know what you're saying, it gets me out of everything, right? So a lot of the dogs that come in here have learned the skill of ignoring and just pretending like they don't know or just like being aloof about it, right? Because it's valuable. They've learned how to do the mannerisms, the expressions, how to ignore properly. We've had dogs that people thought were deaf because they were that good at ignoring. Dog's not deaf at all. Okay, so, good. I mean, they're not looking for trouble. But we are going to change the environment and we are going to see, this is just the first introduction. We're going to start working them more together. We're going to start having them in situations together. We'll have to start bringing food out, see what happens around that, because that's a resource. Even if the dogs aren't hungry, just the fact that you're bringing a resource out, it's like, well, I'm not hungry, but because he wants it, it's my opportunity to establish again today, right? Because if we don't step in and say, stop trying to establish, they'll do that. They'll do that as many times as they want, as many times as they can, because it really does make them, I see this with a lot of dogs, it makes them feel good afterwards, right? They're like, I dominated this dog, I'm on top, today's a good day. I'm gonna look for any opportunity I can to do that, especially if I keep winning, which is her. She wins the fights, which is crazy because he's bigger and older. She's winning these fights from what I understand. So, good. Let's bring a little food out and see what happens. Okay, so I have the food here. The message is that it's my food. If I offer it to one of them, they can have it, but they can't fight over it. If I don't offer it, nobody can have it. If you go up on it, and I haven't offered it, I'll correct. This is how a dog will establish it as far as the hierarchy, and this is how I'm going to do it. so that I can maintain that position, and then I have influence, and then I can say yes or no to anything. And over, that's what solves the problem. But then in the course of a handful of experiences with that level of influence, the dogs just assume if they want something, they wait. It's not theirs. I get first access, and if I never offer it never comes your way. And then actually it creates a very relaxed mind. Look at Gwen here. She's really chill. We got the right amount of trust and respect here, and she has enough knowledge to know the calm state is what I want unless I offer otherwise. And so she's just in this perfect chill.
Almost dreamlike.
And she's the one that would be attacking right now.
Yeah.
So especially over food. So I won't be surprised if they don't take it, especially because they had breakfast recently. But also in these exercises, a lot of the times, the first time, they just won't eat it out of respect for the fact that they're just like, no, I'm good. Sometimes they will, but they don't want to, I don't want to enter that conversation. I don't even want to, So we'll see what happens. Good girl. And she's eating it. Good girl. Okay. Just wanted to see her motivation with it. It's good. It's good. He's a little more weary of it. Good. Well, he is the one that gets attacked around eating food around here, so there's no surprise there. He's like, if I start eating this, is this going to cause? And of course, I'm just guessing. I'm doing my best guess here of why a dog might be behaving the way they are. Because look, he wants it though. You see that motivation?
Yes.
He wants it. Good. But I think right now he's like, I'm not sure if I can. Break. Go ahead. Good boy. Go ahead. Leaves it alone.
She's him.
Yeah, no, that's fine. This is just the first time. We have a lot of success here. Interestingly enough, though, they're both really motivated by that food.
Yeah,
I could see it.
love their food.
So the motivation is strong, but the respect is so high where they're kind of just acting like it's not even there. That's just respect, right? Unless it's, again, they know the permission-based lifestyle. Unless I've offered it to you directly, it's off the table. That'll be generalized to everything. It's not just the food. It'll be the couch, the people, anything you want. Unless I've offered it, it's off the table. So they'll actually do this in front of other things that they might have normally had a different response to the motivation, right? Like a person, they might just run up on the person. They won't. They'll wait because it falls in that category of something I want, a resource. I'm going to let my leader decide how to deal with this. Good. Okay, I'm going to add a wild card into the mix here. Break. 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 Good boy, break. I'm going to set the food aside for a second. Jackson, break. Come on, Jackson. Good boy. Good boy. Come here, guys. I'm going to have them both come over. Come here, Jackson. Good. I know, can you see me? Yeah, good. Rick, chill. So, another example is I just disagreed with his energy, right? They see all this. They see that I'm able to control him. He sees I'm able to control them. That adds up to, oh, this guy must be the guy in this particular pack. And if you can be that, then, right? This is their first time, so you're seeing a lot of, not really sure what to do. I'm trying to go under the radar here with my body language. I'm not puffing up. I'm not walking around like this. I'm also not slinking around like prey. I'm just kind of in the middle, kind of trying to be not starting anything. That's because this is their first time. So you get a little bit of walking on eggshells. They're like, I know I can't do what I used to do, but I don't, because this is the first time, I don't know exactly what I can and can't do, so I'll just do nothing. And when they do nothing, I'm like, hey, that's a good answer. That's actually the answer for like everything you're doing wrong. Just don't do anything if you have that thought. Good. But as time goes on, they'll loosen up and they'll realize the do's and don'ts, and they'll know exactly what's expected of them. And so you'll see a little bit of a different posture. You see, you know, kind of more like his. It's still chill, but he's here. He knows what's going on, right? They're still kind of like, okay, what's next, right? Good. How am I going to respond? Good. Good job, guys. And then I like to follow my instincts. There's nothing in particular that I'm trying to achieve at this point other than seeing how they respond to certain exercises in certain situations. And their responses will inform me where I need to take it. Break. Good. I threw a place bed down just to see what happens here. Good. Jackson's checking it out.
I don't think we've done place with him yet.
No?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No.
Break. Good. Come here. Good. Good. Good, good, good. Nice. Now he's in a position that she'd rather have, but she's letting him have it. Good. Stay. Just seeing how they respond doing things together. Good. Should strengthen their bond. Good. Over time, when they stop seeing each other as competition, more her. And his problem is he's contributing too. His problem is he doesn't want to be controlled. So he doesn't want to listen. So, you know, to the humans or to her. So he causes trouble by not being compliant, essentially, you know. That's his biggest thing. And he also is now aggressive towards other dogs. Mm-hmm. So one interesting thing, the reason these videos are so long is because everybody who has a serious case should get at least one dedicated video where I can explain what I'm seeing. So the interesting thing is when they both first came in, they were both introduced to the pack, our pack. She never showed any signs of aggression towards any of the dogs. He did nearly immediately, right? It was like a couple minutes in, he started snarling and showing teeth to the other dogs. And then he was at the point where I thought he was going to snap. So I, you know, ended the situation, ended the interaction they were having. But she never did that, right? So it's just an interesting point. She's not aggressive for no reason. It's not just I'm aggressive towards dogs when they come into my space. It's more dominance aggression, right? She's doing it to establish. Good. Good. Good girl. Break.
Nice.
Good.
Good
Break.
Girl. Good boy.
Come on,
So
break.
sad I want to break.
Good. Good. He might like it there. Good. Jackson, break. Good boy.
Bud.
Good boy.
He's like, get me out of here.
All these situations you're putting me in.
That was a good first.
Yeah, I agree. That was a nice start. No fight. Didn't seem like there was a thought of a fight at all.
No.
And so we'll continue to work them separately because they both have a little more ways to go.
Awesome.
And start putting them together as well.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.